Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another exciting episode of All About You. In today's video, I will be going over a match. So expect some nice commentary for today's video. And this match is going to be between my Shenron deck versus my friend Jonathan Tavera's Shenron deck. We both have two different type of decks. One is a blue-black deck, which I will be using, while the other is my friend's blue-yellow-black deck. So he has a pretty big mix, which is a little crazy, but he manages to make it work. Essentially, he just wants to be playing Bad Ring when he does his Gogeta play and pretty much seal the game. That's how his deck is supposed to work, and that's how he's trying to play the game. Now, before this match starts, this was actually a Patreon video, so you're gonna see it kind of there for a while because I released it to my Patreons, but now it's going up on YouTube, and due to highly demand requests, people wanted to see commentary, and we will go with it. I might be able to add some background music later on, so hopefully I can. If not, it's just going to be my voice, and I'll walk you through the match and talk to you about my thought process. If you guys haven't joined my Patreon and you are interested, you can go to my About section on my YouTube channel, and it will show, you'll be able to get the details on it if you're trying to get more competitive in the game. But anyway, so right now we just rolled dice. I won the dice roll, which means that I will have the advantage. Shenron decks, when they go up against each other, especially in mirror matches, whoever goes first does have an edge. And I'm going to make sure I take full advantage of it, while Jonathan has to try to play a little from behind, considering that in this game, going first is a huge plus. So right now, we're still getting ready. I'm deciding what I'm going to mull. He's doing the same as well. So typically against these type of matchups, I try to keep key cards. So like in my deck, I mainboard Dende. So against another Shenron deck, Dende would be very powerful, considering that the only way for my opponent to get ahead of me is by using objection, meaning that I will have a huge advantage if they end up using it and they're not able to make use of that energy for that turn. So typically you only want to objection when you're going to really do some serious damage when you know your opponent plays Dende. But we'll see how Jonathan plays it off. Right now we're still in the shuffling process, and we'll see. But like I said, guys and girls, if you're trying to elevate your gameplay and you want to try to turn pro, and it's not like the sense of a sport, but it's a hobby, something that you might want to pride yourself on doing well at events. You can join my Patreon for as little as $1. You will be able to have exclusive content on there as far as being able to ask me questions, seeing the videos that I produce and whatnot. But I'll talk a little bit about it after the video. Without further ado, let's get this rolling. So right now we're giving each other our life, spreading it out, and we're gonna see how Jonathan plays this. So I'm gonna give you guys commentary as if I don't know what's going on in the match in terms of how he's going to play, because it wouldn't be as interesting. So it's kind of like So right now I just charged a Vegeta at all cost. That is a card that I don't mind charging, considering that I run 4 copies in this deck. He is a win con, so I have to keep that in mind. And as you saw, just shuffling through, I see an objection in my hand. So that's going to be very key in this matchup, considering that I can get way ahead of my opponent in this game. So right now I'm checking my life. Now, one thing against the Dragon Ball matchup, or aka Shenron versus Shenron, what I typically like to do is I don't like grabbing Dragon Balls for my life. If it was an aggro matchup, I would grab Dragon Balls immediately. But because this is a slow and control matchup, even if I have any Dragon Balls in life, I would not select them because I want my Dragon Ball leader to gain me as many pluses as possible. If you use your Dragon Ball leader's effect 3 times for each turn, basically once per turn, essentially you'll be going +2 in hand while still filtering, which is very, very strong. Your hand size will just keep increasing. So I'm playing 1 free Dragon Ball. I am explaining, I guess, to my Patreons why I'm playing the free Dragon Ball, which essentially is I don't want to tap out right away. I'd rather play a Dragon Ball that's for free to see my options before I play the 1-star and draw and ditch, because you give yourself more variety of choices by going through all your options before you have to pitch a card, because the Dragon Ball requires you to, this Star Ball requires you to drop a card. So you want to make sure you get as many options as you can so that you don't end up regretting it later. Example, if I would have used the 1-star ball immediately and drew a card and had to ditch a card and I still had free Dragon Balls, it would have kind of sucked, because I would have ended up, not seeing other potential better choices to discard. But right now I'm deciding what I'm going to discard, and I drop a Purunga. And Jonathan's dropping a World Peace, which is going to be very good with his leader. Apparently I drew into a Dragon Ball with the 1-star. That's why I played it in that fashion. But right now, Jonathan is off to an okay start, I guess, since he ended up ditching a World Peace. So that means guaranteed, once he's awakened, he's going to be in good standings. He's going to be able to grab that World Peace and add it to his hand. So at this point, I'm still talking to my Patreons, just kind of giving them an idea of what the game state is and how I'm going to approach the matchup. That's one thing I did in this video. So you might see some pauses. Excuse that, because it's just information I was giving my Patreons at the time. So Jonathan is going straight for his life. He's grabbing nothing. Or maybe he's just right now checking. I believe he's just seeing what's in there. And for the future, guys, he grabs 2 Dragon Balls from his life. So he decides to just grab them. That I disagree with. And the reason why is because you increase the odds of drawing multiple Dragon Balls. If you would have left the 2 in life, if he would have done that and went for his deck, he would decrease the chance of seeing Dragon Balls, which will allow him to plus out more so. As you see, you just saw what happened. He ended up seeing an additional Dragon Ball, which is not too bad. Seeing 3 is not as bad because essentially you still want to awaken by turn 3. It just sucks when you see too many balls in one shot. If you see 4 or 5, it sucks because you're limiting the amount of times you can actually go plus. So he drops a Crisis Crusher, which is very good. It stops a lot of different decks depending on if they're running a lot of weenies or whatnot, but it's a very good choice to drop a Crisis Crusher. It just kind of makes all your other plays easier as you go along. So right now I'm determining my second energy. I shifted through a few cards, and I am going to be charging a Shenron. So I run 4 copies of that Shenron, if you're wondering. So another card I run 4 of, which is really cool because I'll definitely have more of those available in gameplay. Now I'm using my Shenron's, my Dragon Ball's effect, and I searched for another 1-star and a Dragon Ball. I want to make use of that 1-star immediately so that I don't get stuck having to utilize my energy when we get up to the later game. So right now I just drew a card, and did I draw any other Dragon Balls? We're about to find out. And I am going for the objection, which is a better play because when you use objection, you essentially allow yourself to be able to play your 1-star ball after the objection. You want to get as much value as you can. So before playing the 1-star ball, it's great to use the objection so I can get ahead of Jonathan and then still use the 1-star ball with the 1 energy I have left. So I believe I'm explaining that to the Patreons just so that they understand why I went for the objection right away as opposed to using the 1-star, which would have allowed me to not have access to objection if I would have played in that manner. So still early in the game. Again, now since I'm using objection, it's going to be even harder for Jonathan to keep up with me, considering that regardless if he has Dende, it can't use Dende's effect on turn 2. You know, the most he can do is try to use an objection, but it's very risky considering that I do play Dende main board. So right now I'm deciding what I'm going to place down for energy, which is something that's going to be pretty cool. And the game is going to be moving on a little faster. It's a little slower considering that I am talking to my Patreons, or patrons for that matter. So just, excuse the slower gameplay. There we go. Just charged a Dende. Similar to what I was telling you guys earlier. I have that as an option in my deck. So Jonathan does have to be careful with using Objection because I could lock him out of the game. There goes the other Shenron. So like I said, I run 4. There goes 1 in the drop area. So when I'm ready to use cards like World Peace, I'll be able to snag some advantage. So now it's his move. Jonathan is going on his second turn. You know, I usually count turns based on energy. So I'm already moving on to my 4th turn, essentially. Objection is a very good card in this format and with leaders like this. So Jonathan's deciding what he's going to place as energy. As I said earlier, you know, if you guys are very interested in getting better, definitely sign up for the Patreon. You can choose what tier you want, and based on what you select, you will get. And I release videos on the daily for the most part. There will be some times I don't release a video for that day, but I try to stick to day-by-day basis, and I'll switch it up. So certain tiers, like I'll have, if you're a $1 tier, you'll see probably 1 or 2 videos a week overall. If you're a $5 tier, etc., you know, it kind of goes based on what tier you are. So right now, Jonathan is searching his deck. He's using Dragon Ball's effect again. And we'll see what he has left. Now he's able to kind of skim through his entire deck. So it gives him some time to, you know, see what options he has. And he's going to take advantage of it since he's kind of going through it a little slow. Now he's selecting his 1-star ball. Now, I know some of you guys have asked me, what is your thoughts on the 1-star ball? Why not run all 7 of the regular Dragon Balls that cost 0? The reason is that you need targets to pitch out. Only against aggressive decks you have that leisure, but if you play against anything control, they may not give you the opportunity to dump cards out. And you don't want to be swinging out with cards like Crisis Crusher. You know, it's kind of a waste. So essentially, you want to leave that Crisis on the board, still be able to pitch out cards, and still continue with your play line. So you saw what he just grabbed. We're going to see what Jonathan has in stored. He's going straight up for the 1-star. So unfortunately, whether or not he had Objection, he would not be able to use it because he won't have the energy left for it, unless he has like a Sensu Bean. He pitched out another Crisis Crusher, and I pitched out a super combo. So my hand is not too big. As you can see, my hand is actually very limited. So when you see me pitching out a super combo, it probably means that my hand, I'm trying to keep key pieces to what I'm trying to do in this game. So he hit another 1-star, which is going to hurt because I just saw a Gogeta in my hand. And he just pitched out his Gogeta, the 5-drop. So we're going to see the next card I pitch out. And we'll find out. So I pitched out a Demigrub. So that already shows you. I believe in my hand, I should be having around 3 to 4 cards. Odds are it's a Gogeta, Goku, and Vegeta. So that's that. Now Jonathan tapped out. This isn't too risky, but again, against certain matchups, that wouldn't be a good idea, but in this matchup, it's fine. Essentially, he knows that I need 5 energy to really go crazy and really get the ball going. So, and I don't have any battle cards out, so the odds of me using cards like Sensu Bean are very small to none because I would have to have a guy out on board. So I'm explaining to my Patreons why I ditched the Demigra, because I know even right now to you guys, you might be like, whoa, you just ditched your secret rare out of your hand. You know, so that's pretty much the gist of it. I want to keep more valuable cards in hand, considering that Gogeta can do more than Demigra in your average matchup, especially in a Shenron Gogeta matchup. So now I'm charging a Vegeta. I'm pretty sure I just must have drew a Vegeta just now. So I probably drew an additional copy, which is why I charged that card. I'm using my Dragon Ball's effect. And we should be awakening this turn. That should be suffice since I have 5 Dragon Balls already used. So I will be going exactly a +2 again. And that should be fine. So I selected 1 Dragon Ball. That means that in this game, I probably ended up drawing a Dragon Ball and I just had to charge a Vegeta because there was no other option. I wasn't going to charge a Dragon Ball. So that's unfortunate. Yep, and I ended up drawing the Dragon Ball. So that's what it was. Unfortunately, I do not have any Desire cards, so I won't be picking up anything. I'm using Shenron's ability, or am I? We're about to, oh, nope, I'm still talking to my Patreons. And nope, I am using Shenron's ability. I go for the draw. I'm probably explaining to my Patreons at this point in time. My play line is very restricted. I'm playing objection again. So we're ramping even harder. Now, I must have drew another Gogeta. I'm assuming I did. And at this point, we're passing. So I don't have many cards in hand. I believe I have roughly about 4 cards in hand at this point. Jonathan is very behind. I'm ahead, but Jonathan has a lot more cards to play with. So we'll see how he makes use of it. So right now he's still deciding, seeing exactly what he can do to try to overcome this match. He just charged his at all cost Vegeta. So interesting. Now he's using Dragon Ball's effect. Excuse the fact that he's not tapping his leader and untapping his leader. He kind of just leaves it that way just to skip the process of having to constantly untap and tap. So that's just something, you know, between your opponent, if you're in a tournament, you can let your opponent know if they don't, you know, communicate. If your opponent doesn't mind, it's fine. You can just let your opponent know, is it okay if I leave my leader tapped so we don't have to keep going through the same motion and waste precious seconds, especially when you're timed for 60 minutes. So Jonathan is using both Dragon Balls immediately. And he should be awakening himself. So this game is going to get very interesting, except he does have a Desire card, which is very good. So he'll be able to pick up something while I couldn't. And we'll see what's going on. So he awakens. He's picking up his World Peace, I believe. Correct. And he has 3 energy. So again, he's very behind. I'm going to be having 6 energy. So I'm going to be I'm pretty much 3 turns ahead of him at this point. Especially if he doesn't try to objection. Ooh. He went for the objection play. Now, like I said before, that is very risky, but I think he's just using a process of elimination. Since my hand is small, he's probably assuming, okay, at this point, you know, what are the odds of him having Dende? Let me try to catch up in this game. He's trying to play catch up in a turn. Let's see if he can double objection. Oh, nope. I believe he just ended his turn. So all he was able to do is 1 objection. If he would have double objection, that would have been a little bit better on his part, but we'll find out what's going on. So I have my 5 energy there. It's already set. And we're going to see what happens. Will I be charging or will I be going for a play? So I untap my leader. And I am playing Dende. So I skip charge. I draw a card. It looks like we're going for a lock. I am using Dende's ability. I'm popping, let's see. The smarter play would be able to pop one of his rested cards, in my opinion, if I'm not attacking. And sure enough, I pop one of his rested cards, considering that they're high drops. That's the reason why. You know, you want to try to target cards that that you know your opponent won't be able to use. So now I'm using Child's Wish for free, which still will allow me to have the 2 energy left. And I'm using Dende's effect. He's losing 2 energy for that 1 objection. Now he's losing, yep, he's losing the yellow. You see, in this situation, it ended up really bad because I have 8 life and Jonathan doesn't have much leverage in this game. So it's going to be very hard for him to make a push because right now, if he's only charging 1 energy per turn, there's a good chance I could keep recycling Dende for the rest of the game until I'm ready to game him and put him in a really bad spot. So Jonathan just got hit. He charged another yellow with the battering, and we're going to see what he does. So he's playing Dragon Radar. Let's see if he's going to try to control my hand and try to knock the few cards I have. Yep, I believe he's going for it. He is. So Jonathan is taking a different approach. Since he knows that I can keep locking him down, he's going to try to reduce the chances of me, you know, messing his energy up. So he's going to try to hand control me at this point. Not a bad play from Jonathan. As of now, he's pretty desperate. I just don't agree with him using the objection in that fashion. You never want to use objection if you don't have another line of play. Looks like I just lost the Gogeta. He's using it again. So he's tapping out. This is a little scary because if I have it at all costs, I can just potentially game him in 1 shot since he's at 6 life currently. So I ended up dropping a Gogeta, and we're going to see. So that's all he was able to do for the turn. He just wanted to try to limit my resources, but let's see what happens in this game. So I just drew a card, and I'm deciding what I'm going to do. Like I said, he ended up paying for that objection. I am dropping Gogeta. So apparently I have the pieces. This is not looking good for Jonathan. Sure enough, now I have to crit a life. And there we go. Look, another piece. So now he's shuffling his hand back. This is pretty sad because Jonathan is at 6 life. And it almost doesn't matter what he draws. I don't have Shenron on board, so I'm not going in for a crit. But it kind of doesn't matter at this point in time because he'll go from 3 cards to 6 cards. And if he doesn't draw a power burst, if he actually runs that card, he won't be able to do anything. That's the only card that would allow him to make a small comeback, considering that he would have to essentially hit a power burst into like another power burst in order to stay alive, considering that I'm not running yellow for battering. So he drew his 3 cards. I'm removing all 7 Dragon Balls. I'm giving Gogeta triple attack. Again, he's tapped out, so he can't use peel off. He can't use any of those cards if he main boards them. And he's in a bad game state. And I believe that's what I'm literally saying to the audience. Just kind of letting them know that Jonathan is about to get his shit pushed in. Not much I can say. So Gogeta is swinging out for 40k. That's very powerful. I have 3 attacks. So that's the first attack out of the 3. He's just taking it. He doesn't have enough combo power. Now I'm still at 40. I have 2 more attacks left. I'm going to end up comboing at this point. I attack him. He has no negate. I combo 5k. I'm at 45. Even if he survives the combo, he has to now survive again, which is very difficult. So he's 25, 35, 40, 45, and he needs 5 more. And that's a wrap. So as you can see, he ended up scooping up, and game is over. Pretty simple. So despite the video being a little longer than what it could have been, this is more like a little tutorial for some of my Patreons, which is why I explained a few of my plays. For more experienced players, you guys will obviously just kind of skim through that part and just look at the match itself. But that's a wrap. And again, thanks for watching. And as always, the